Hey friend, welcome. I'm Jen. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and this is how I make some money from home. I resell items, mostly clothes, online. So I go to thrift stores, yard sales, I pick up clothes, shoes, purses, some hats, some random things sometimes, and I look on eBay, see if if they are marketable, if they are resellable, and hopefully I can resell them on eBay or sometimes Poshmark for a profit. Today I am shipping out 5 items. My gross sales amount was $171.04. And if you stick around to the end, I will tell you my total profit. But I made all this from home other than, going out and sourcing my items, which is kind of me time because I enjoy doing it. So the first item that I sold were these Danco, let's see. Oh, there we go. Danco vegan, like clog shoes, sneakers. They're like this blue floral. They do have some wear, some dirt on them. I think that that's okay as long as, you're upfront about it and disclose that in your listing on eBay. So when I say that I check to see if things are marketable, what I do is I go to eBay and I search the item and I see how many are listed, and then I see how many are sold and the amount of money that they sold for. Sometimes people will list things for completely unreasonable amounts of money that no one is ever going to buy the item for. So you always want to check what has actually sold. If there are 100 items sold or 100 items listed and only one sold, the likelihood that my item is going to sell isn't very big. So I like to find something that has a 25% or higher sell-through rate. So what I do is I take the number of items that have sold and I divide that by the total number sold and currently listed, because that's the total number that has been listed over the past 90 days, which is the amount of time that eBay keeps things in their database. So these Dancos have a 29% sell-through rate, so that's pretty good, and a $28.37 average sale price. Mine sold for $33.29. They took 3 months to sell. I found them for 40 cents at my favorite thrift store, which has a perpetual bag sale, and my profit is $16.82. So when I tell you the total amount that it sold for, that is the total amount they paid for the item plus shipping, because that is what goes into my account. So the next item that sold is a tree skirt. It is quilted. It has these snowflakes on it, and it buttons up the, that's how it closes around the tree. But it's from Pottery Barn. I don't know if you can see that. This had an amazing sell-through rate when I looked at it. Oh, I forgot to. I'm gonna finish packaging up those Dancos in a minute because I will add some padding to the box so that the shoes don't kind of just dump around everywhere. So the Pottery Barn quilted tree skirts have a 47% sell-through rate. When I bought it, which was in January, which is a bad time to buy a tree skirt, it was even higher. I think it was closer to like 75%. I bought this at the bins. It had some staining on it, which is a bummer. I tried to get the staining out and instead made it worse. The ones that had sold were not perfect, and so I was like, I'm just still gonna try and sell it. And I did. I've had it since January, so that's, like 11 months. That's not ideal. I don't want to hold on to things, especially like big, bulky things like this, for 11 months. But my goal is to sell things within like 3 months. That would be ideal. The average sale price is $53.56. Of course, if they don't have stains, if they don't have wear, they're going to be worth more valuable, but mine still sold for $49.92. I ended up putting my cost of goods as 0 because it did have staining. I didn't put it within my, when I go to the bins, the Goodwill outlet, you pay by the pound. And so I take an average cost of goods. I took this out because it was stained, didn't consider it part of my goods. It's just how I do my own thing. It doesn't matter is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, 11 months to sell. My profit is $35.89. I am going to try to shove this thing into this box. This is a $10.95 box from Priority Mail in the United States Postal Service. I don't know if it's gonna go. I might have to get a number 7 box, which is a bigger box. But if I don't have to get a bigger box, I won't. Goodness. The priority shipping supplies are free in that they don't cost you to like get the supplies. However, you do have to pay for the shipping. It's not just like I put it in a box and it goes for free. I still have to pay for that shipping cost. All right, I kind of made it. It's in there. It's not pretty, but it's in there. Okay. I am gonna have to put some tape on this, I think. I do calculated shipping. So all of my items, as I am photographing them, I take pictures of the weight. So I will weigh it on my scale. I don't even have like a fancy, I don't have any kind of fancy scale. I actually have a food scale that I bought for science experiments with my kids. Just reality, truth there. And I just use it. So it's not perfect. I have had a couple snafus. Sometimes it's not perfect. Yeah, it works for me, but I take a picture of the weight as I am listing the item. I can put the weight in and, you know, determine if it's going to be priority or ground advantage. And it has worked for me so far. I do occasionally get messages like, hey, shipping's too high. I do live on the east side of the Midwest. So if I'm shipping to, it's not in the right order. If I'm shipping to California, you know, priority, that can get real pricey real fast. So I have had people say, you know, can you change shipping? Sometimes I can change it to like a flat rate and that'll make it cheaper. Sometimes I can't. And I just say, I'm sorry, I can't. I did get a message yesterday that said, shipping to the UK is unreasonable. And I just said, I'm really sorry to hear that. I didn't know how to respond. Like, I'm just, I don't know. Just a mom selling things here in the US. I can't really do anything about international shipping costs. I thought it was kind of funny. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know I like to sell vintage sweaters. This is La Tigre. What is that model movie with Ben Stiller? When he does like a new face. I don't know. Anyway, that's what it just reminds me of. Anyway, this is made in the USA. It's a size large. It is acrylic, which I thought so. Vintage sweaters, gray, solid sweaters with a crew neck. I will tell you, crew neck is kind of a big deal. Not really sure why. But they have a 58% sell-through rate. That's fantastic, I think. $26.26 is the average sale price. I do list most of my sweaters at $30 and try not to take less than 20. Some of them I will list higher just depending on, you know, if there's anything special about them. If there's like a 3V knit, definitely want to take a look at those. If they're a chunky knit or a cable knit. If this had wool in it, maybe. Mine sold for $32.45. I bought it about 4 months ago, again, at the bins, the Goodwill outlet. So I paid about $2 for it. And my profit is $15.70. I will tell you, my goal is to get at least $15 out of each item in profit. There are some exceptions to that rule, but that's my goal. And today that was the case, so I'm very pleased. Very, very pleased about that. All right. My pen is bleeding. That's not good. All right, this I think I'm gonna have to take the lint roller to. So this is a blazer. It's purple. It is like a felt. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the texture, but it's real pretty. The brand is Chico's. Can you see that? Okay. And it's just polyester, rayon, spandex. So it's not wool or anything, but it is like a felt material. I did search Chico's blazers. I didn't really get any more detailed than that in my search for the sell-through rate, but the sell-through rate is 7%. That's not great. Chico's as a whole, I think, has a higher sell-through rate. I didn't double check that. I probably should have for you, but I didn't this morning, sorry. And the average sale price for a Chico's blazer is $17.24. I would imagine that there are some styles and some, materials, definitely if you have linen or wool or even cotton, those natural materials just have a higher value most of the time. That has been my experience, and that's reflected, I think, in sell-through rates as well. Man, that felt material just like collects everything. I do have a dog. She's not allowed out here, but sometimes there's just transfer when I'm working with items and her dog fur gets on me. And she's a short-haired dog, so sometimes I think that's worse. All right. Well, as I'm doing this, I will tell you that I sold this blazer for $32.33. I've had it for a year and 3 months. There you go. That's reflected in that 7% sell-through rate, right? I did buy it again at the Goodwill outlet, the bins. Man, I think, well, three of the 5 items came from the bins. Let's see. It cost me about $2.50. That was my average cost of goods. When I first started to go to the bins, I would do the average cost of goods. I still do a little bit. I think just how you keep track of your items is completely up to you, but sorry, this is going to be the boring part of the video. Oh, you know what? I guess I can tell you, if you watched yesterday's video, I do have a couple updates. One is that vintage wool skirt that I found the hole in. The buyer did ask to cancel, unfortunately, which I kind of assumed would happen. I did relist it, disclosing the flaw this time, so hopefully someone else will buy it because it's really a beautiful skirt. I did counter offer with that dress, the Jessica McClintock Gunny Sacks dress, and actually after reading someone's comment, I might recomp it and actually list it higher. So I think that maybe I am undervaluing it, and sometimes I think that when you undervalue things, you also don't get the sale because they think that something's wrong with it, or I don't know. That's my guess. I don't have, evidence to back that up. I don't know how to prove that, but I do find that sometimes if I price on the higher end of comps, that sometimes that works, especially if the sell-through rate is good. The sell-through rate's bad. I'm gonna list on the lower side of comps every time. All right. So did I tell you what the price was on this? My profit is $18.11. While I'm pleased with $18.11, I am not pleased with having this for 15 months. In January, I will do a, what's it called? An inventory, like, audit on my own inventory. So I will go through, I will make sure everything is listed. I will take out things that haven't sold in over a year because I don't have the space to hold up onto a bunch of stuff. And if they haven't sold in a year, the likelihood is they're not going to sell. So I'm really looking forward to that. I like having like a handle on things, and I feel like I'm getting, I did one this past January, but now I'm getting to where I'm like, this needs to happen again. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Sometimes when I find things that don't have a huge resale value or a very low sell-through rate, but are still quality items, I will lot them together. So at my favorite thrift store, I found these two little bralettes. They are both Victoria's Secret. They are both the same size, same style, and they're both new with tags. So if I look up Victoria's Secret bralette lace, because I think that's important, little detail to add, the average sale price is $17.50, and that's new ones, new with tags on them. The sell-through rate is 8%, not great. So, if I had not listed these together, probably wouldn't have gotten as good of a price on these as I did. Maybe, I don't know. They still took 9 months to sell. They sold for $23.05. 9 months. I spent 81 cents on them at my favorite thrift store. So my profit is $15.08. Bras are one of those things that I don't mind holding on to a little longer, or even taking less of a profit on, just because they're easy for me. They don't take long to ship. They don't take long to photograph. They're quick for me, and they don't take up a lot of space when I am, storing them. Especially these, like, super tiny, right? So these are obviously under a pound. Everything I sell gets wrapped in tissue paper and sealed with a little thank you sticker. And then if it goes ground advantage, it goes into a poly mailer like this that I just buy on Amazon, or sometimes on eBay. So that's it, my 5 sales for a total of $101.60. That was my profit. So my goal in profit daily is $67. That gives me a goal of $2,000 a month. 1,000 of it to go back into my family's budget, pay for things like piano lessons and violin lessons and dance and soccer and acting classes, all the things that my kids do. They also help us, when we want to do little extra things as well. 500, my goal is 500 of it back into the business to, buy things like more inventory, bins to store them in, shipping supplies, things like that. And then also 500 of it to save for income taxes, because this is taxable income. That's important to remember, because the government wants our money. And whatever your beliefs on it or not, it's taxable income. That's just the bottom line of that. So I think that's it. I feel like I'm a little today. I usually am, but I feel a little more that today. But I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Make sure you leave me a comment and let me know, what do I want to know today? What are you up to this weekend? It's Friday. Tell me your weekend plans. The post office is shut tomorrow, so I will not be shipping, but guess what? There will be a thrift haul. Haven't done one of those in a hot minute, but it's a pretty good one. It's long, and I do check all the sell-through rates for you and the average sale prices on, I think, every item. So I'm excited. It'll be fun. I hope you have a great weekend. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.